Yet More Strange Tales, read by Roy Macready. In the Dark, by E.Nesbit.
It may have been a form of madness, or it may be that he really was what is called haunted, or it may, though I don't pretend to understand how, have been the development, through intense suffering, of a sixth sense in a very nervous, highly strung nature. Something certainly led him where they were, and to him they were all one. He told me the first part of the story, and the last part of it I saw with my own eyes. Haldane and I were friends even in our school days. What first brought us together was our common hatred of Visger, who came from our part of the country. His people knew our people at home, so he was put on to us when he came. He was the most intolerable person, boy and man, that I have ever known. He would not tell a lie, and that was all right, but he didn't stop at that. If he were asked whether any other chap had done anything, been out of bounds, or up to any sort of lark, he would always say, "I don't know, sir, but I believe so." He never did know. We took care of that. But what he believed was always right. I remember Haldane twisting his arm to say how he knew about that cherry-tree business, and he only said, "I don't know, I just feel sure, and I was right, you see." What can you do with a boy like that? We grew up to be men, at least Haldane and I did. Visger grew up to be a prig. He was a vegetarian and a teetotaler and an all-wooler and a Christian Scientist and all the things that prigs are. But he wasn't a common prig. He knew all sorts of things that he oughtn't to have known, that he couldn't have known in any ordinary decent way. It wasn't that he found things out. He just knew them. Once, when I was very unhappy, he came into my rooms. We were all in our last year at Oxford, and talked about things I hardly knew myself. That was really why I went to India that winter. It was bad enough to be unhappy without having that beast knowing all about it. I was away over a year. Coming back, I thought a lot about how jolly it would be to see old Haldane again. If I thought about Visger at all, I wished he was dead, but I didn't think about him much. I did want to see Haldane. He was always such a jolly chap, gay and kindly and simple, honourable, upright, and full of practical sympathies. I longed to see him, to see the smile in his jolly blue eyes, looking out from that net of wrinkles that laughing had made round them, to hear his jolly laugh and feel the good grip of his big hand. I went straight from the docks to his chambers in Gray's Inn, and I found him cold, pale, anaemic, with dull eyes and a limp hand, and pale lips that smiled without mirth, and uttered a welcome without gladness. He was surrounded by a litter of disordered furniture and personal effects half-packed. Some big boxes stood corded, and there were cases of books filled and waiting for the enclosing boards to be nailed on. "Yes, I'm moving," he said. "I can't stand these rooms. There's something rum about them, something devilish rum. I clear out tomorrow." The autumn dusk was filling the corners with shadows. "You got the furs?" I said, just for something to say, for I saw the big case that held them lying corded among the others. "Furs?" he said. "Oh, yes, thanks awfully. Yes, I forgot about the furs." He laughed out of politeness, I suppose, for there was no joke about the furs. They were many and fine, the best I could get for money, and I had seen them packed and sent off when my heart was very sore. He stood looking at me and saying nothing. "Come out and have a bit of dinner," I said as cheerfully as I could. "Too busy," he answered, after the slightest possible pause and a glance round the room. "Look here, I'm awfully glad to see you. If you'd just slip over and order in dinner, I'd go myself, only, well, you see how it is." I went, and when I came back he had cleared a space near the fire and moved his big gate table into it. We dined there by candlelight. I tried to be amusing. He, I'm sure, tried to be amused. We did not succeed, either of us, and his haggard eyes watched me all the time, save in those fleeting moments when, without turning his head, he glanced back over his shoulder into the shadows that crowded round the little lighted place where we sat. When we had dined and the man had come and taken away the dishes, I looked at Haldane very steadily, so that he stopped me in a pointless anecdote and looked interrogation at me.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?